NBA did indeed suspend Dillon Brooks for a game following that flagrant 2 on Gary Payton in Tuesday's matchup. The Grizzlies now going to be without Brooks for Game 3 tomorrow. Plus, they find themselves as 7-point road underdogs. That's according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. So, Shannon, what do you think here? Does the punishment fit the crime for Brooks?
I understand why they did it. This was a very dangerous play. This was not just a brush. This was not just a swipe. Everybody saw what happened. Hell, even his own teammate said that was too hard of a foul. That's what his teammate, the guy that's in the locker room, my brother said that went over the line. That's what he said. Am I correct, Skip? Chuck Clark, that's what he said.
My turn?
No, that's not your turn.
You asked me a question. Do I get to go now?
You can answer.
Okay.
You can answer that question.
Can I put some perspective around it?
Put some perspective on it.
No, go ahead. Because I'm about to shred you. I'm just chomping over here. I need you to get all of your stuff out of the way.
The league does not want these kinds of plays. Gary Payton II was in a very vulnerable position. He's a left-handed player. He's going to lay the ball up with his left hand. He gets clubbed upside the head, and his instincts is to brace himself. It's kind of like when somebody put their hand in front of your face, why'd you blink? Because that's my instincts. The instincts tell you to blink. So if you're about to fall, everybody's going to brace themselves. I don't care what you say. Well, you got to learn how to fall. You learn how to fall when you lay the ball up yourself and nobody hits you. But this guy took him out of the air, having caught balls for a living. I know how difficult. There's something called a defenseless receiver. Why, and how do you become defenseless, Skip? When you're airborne and you can't protect yourself. It's called physics. Normally, if you're up in the air, somebody pushes you, you're going to fall. You don't know where you're going to fall. And that's what happened. And the NBA says we don't want these kinds of plays. We want good, hard basketball plays. This went over the NBA felt that this went over the edge of a basketball play. So therefore, they took an extra effort. We saw this with the Caruso and the Grayson Allen play. Very similar play. It's good. Everybody said that's a good hard fight. No, it's not. That was an unnecessary play. And the NBA said, yeah, we think it's unnecessary also, so we're going to tag a game on top of the flagrant 2, the automatic the ejection that happened during the game. We're going to add an extra game to it. So this was not a brush. This was not a swipe. As everybody can see in the video, he hit him extremely hard, and it knocked him off balance while he was in the air. So with that being said, they said, you know what? We're going to tack a game onto it.
And you loved it.
What you mean I loved it? Skip, you remember I came out here the next day and said, I don't want him to get suspended for a game? Do you remember I said that?
Silly me, I actually thought you played football once.
I did.
Who knew?
I did play football. When they would knock your block off, you know it.
Did Gary Payton II get hit the way DBs hit defenseless receivers with body shots, helmet shots, full-speed shots? No. Stop it! This makes me sick. It makes me want to puke. Does the punishment fit the crime? The crime here is that Dillon Brooks, inconceivably, just got suspended effectively for 2 full games of a huge NBA playoff series. 2 full games. Yeah. This is a travesty. This is a sadly laughable travesty that really makes me not even want to watch NBA playoff games anymore.
Stop it.
No, I'm not. I'm starting it. Because my NBA, the National Basketball Association that I've loved since the middle 1970s, has turned into the National Softball Association.
Stop it.
That's what it is. You want to talk about soft? Okay, let's sit back for a second and think about what's going through Dillon Brooks' head. Dillon Brooks is not a cheap shot artist. He is a competitor. He does play with an edge, but I loved what his coach said yesterday, Taylor Jenkins, responding to Steve Kerr dismissing this play as dirty. Taylor Jenkins, for whom I have rising respect, he said, obviously, dirty has been thrown out there by Steve Kerr, but I look at my locker room, I look at our culture and what we exude, we're the furthest thing from dirty. We are competitive, so I want that to be squashed pretty quick here, and it should be squashed. So the competitor, who is Dillon Brooks, who has obviously been schooled about what makes Golden State tick, what does Gary Payton II do the worst? Help me out here. What does he do the worst on the basketball floor? Well, it's obviously not defend, because that's what he does the best.
Right.
That's what's kept him barely afloat in the league, because he's bounced all over the league. He's been with 4 different franchises and 6 different teams.
Right.
He is a sorry free throw shooter. He is 60% this year. For his career, he's 57%. So obviously the correct basketball play is to foul him on a breakaway layup. Make him go to the free throw line and make 2 free throws, because the odds are he's only going to make 1 and you're going to save yourself a point. Am I right about that?
Okay.
So here comes Dillon Brooks flying across the lane, and he does swipe, and he does rake across the back of the head of one Gary Payton.
Rake.
But did he catch him with an elbow? Help me out. Did he catch him with his elbow? I want to know.
It don't have to be an elbow,
Is there an elbow shot to the head?
It doesn't have to be an elbow.
Did he accidentally clench his fist and catch him upside the head?
Skip, you watching the video.
Stop it.
Everybody's at home watching the same video you watching.
It's just a swipe. He just rakes across the back of his head.
No, he didn't rake across his head, Skip.
Let me tell you, I watch so many NBA games. I live for the NBA. I watch 5 a night, every night during the regular season. I've been watching it since the middle 70s. A game will not pass in which 2 or 3 guys get fouled hard on a fast break type layup, or some sort of breakaway or blow by layup.
Well, how many of them got fouled like that and didn't get getting thrown out the game?
They get hit hard, they get body fouled, and they fly into the stanchion. It's something that you have to learn how to cope with from church league basketball on. It's certainly from high school basketball on up. And obviously, Gary Payton grew up in a basketball household where his father had to learn how to fall, because you just know instinctively, innately, how to go down, and you can't lock out your elbow and stick your palm into the hardwood, or something's going to give in your elbow.
Well, Skip,
the injury was not a result of the contact.
Yes,
I'm
it was.
not going to buy that.
Skip.
I'm sorry. It's too easy to gather yourself. You're a supreme NBA athlete. You can gather yourself and you can fall better than that.
Let me ask you a question. Had he not gotten hit up the side of his head, would he have fallen on the floor? So if
you body foul somebody, they fall every time.
So
they fall every time.
Therefore, you're responsible for the end result.
Stop it. Was this the classic submarine where you go up under somebody and take their legs out from under them and helicopter them in midair? That's the one where it could be lethal. You could fall on your head. Did that happen here?
No.
No, stop it.
So just because he didn't submarine him, because he hit him upside his head, well, like you said, he light tapped him side his head.
I didn't say he light tapped him. He just raked across the back of his head. He's going for the basketball, and he was there just a touch late.
Well, he hit his
and he knows in his head, I got to foul him. I got to send him to the free throw line, because he's a pathetic free throw shooter.
Okay, but he didn't just foul him. He knocked him off balance, and the guy broke his arm. That's, Skip, for you to say he's not responsible for that, he's directly responsible for that.
So this is what just kills me, is that the National Basketball Association succumbed to yet another Twitter cancel campaign. That's what this was. Cancel Dillon Brooks. You know it, and I know it.
And then cancel Dillon Brooks.
Cancel Dillon Brooks. That's what started. That was the groundswell. You were swept up in it. Everybody gets swept up in it. Everybody's swept up in it. And the NBA cowered yesterday. Oh, they want to cancel him. We better cancel him. Let's cancel him. Let's just go ahead and cancel him. That's what they want. And furthermore, what does the NBA want here? What does the NBA desperately need? Obviously, there's no LeBron James. He is long gone. I don't know what happened to him, but he didn't even make the playoffs. Same thing happened with Kevin Durant. Okay, I'll give you that. What do you call him? Kadun. Okay, Kadun is done, and he's long gone. Yeah. All of a sudden, you look up and you say, the NBA is like, we only have one other superstar to sell. We got to sell Babyface here, the Babyface assassin. He's in every commercial on TV right now. I cannot watch a game without being barraged with Steph Curry commercials. He is beloved. He is the greatest shooter in history, except in fourth quarters of playoff games, but that's all another story. The point is, they need Steph to advance. They don't need some little upstart team from Memphis. I don't care what you say, Memphis, even Ja, they do not move the needle just yet. Maybe they will if they break through and go win a championship, but Steph's won a bunch of championships and a couple of MVPs, one of them unanimous, and they need him to go forward. So let's go ahead and suspend his primary defender for game 3. Congratulations.
Skip, they won without him.
Yeah, because it's the wounded tiger theory where you.
Okay, so are you not still wounded?
Okay, but the point was that the team that shot itself in the foot was Golden State because they had him dead to rights, and Steph came up even smaller than he is, and Clay starts missing, clanking, and Jordan Poole was kind of quiet by his standards, and all of a sudden, as you said, what did they end up shooting from 3? 7 for 34?
Yeah,
okay, you're going to lose, right? Okay,
yes.
that's their fault. That's not what Memphis did until Ja finally said, you guys don't want this? I'll take it. Thank you very much.
First of all, I came out here the very next day and says, I do not want more punishment. I don't want them to get suspended. So for you to say I was a part of the cancel culture, that's just not true.
Okay, but you're loving the cancel culture.
I don't love that. Why do I love that?
You're getting a kick out of this.
Why?
Because you're rooting for Golden State.
No,
because
Skip,
I'm rooting for Memphis.
Skip, I picked Golden State to win. I felt what the guy did rose to the level of a flagrant 2. You didn't feel that it rose to the level of a flagrant 2.
And for the record, just so I don't look hypocritical here, when Draymond got his flagrant 2 and got ejected, I immediately tweeted, that's not a flagrant 2 because I don't want to see him kicked out. I didn't want to see him get kicked out in 2016. It saved LeBron's legacy.
Just because you're a star player shouldn't allow you to avoid consequences for your actions. Draymond clubbed the guy in the face and then snatched him out the jersey,